Hey, Cooper here from Big D's Dog Training and Services.com. Thanks for tuning in. The information request of the day is, what is a handler and what is the benefit of a handler? Well, you look across the country, you have the dog show industry has a lot of facets to it. Myself, I'm not just a dog trainer. I train dogs every day. I work with service dogs. I work with people with behavioral problems and behavioral issues. I help out other handlers deal with training problems and training issues and to help just get them to do the things that they need them to do. But when you look at the outline of what it takes, you know, there's a lot of education that goes into it. When a handler steps off into the ring compared to an owner, a handler's had multiple different dogs to work with and multiple different personalities, multiple different tools to use, and so they learn different techniques in order to present the dog the best that they possibly can. So like if a dog moves a foot, the handler can gently move that foot back without any taking notice that it was done. Oftentimes a owner will get frustrated that dog moved a foot or didn't show its bite or that type of thing, and when they get frustrated, the dog reads that frustration and then doesn't want to do the task because of apprehensiveness of what was just going on or what changed the activity or why all of a sudden there's nervousness or why all of a sudden there's a frustration. The dog senses that and then all of a sudden responds accordingly. When you look at handlers, you know, people ask about the cost of a handler. Handlers are cost effective. When a person wants to finish a dog, they finish a dog faster because they travel to more shows. And if you look at finishing a championship or finishing a grand championship or trying to equate to get a major, your handlers are out on a day-to-day, week-in, week-out basis, and so that therefore they're in front of more judges because the total handling scheme is a game of attrition. You know, the non-handler will say it's politics that this person won because of knowing the judge or whatnot. But think about it. When a person that walks in there is confident about what they're doing, if the dog makes a mistake, they make it look like the dog didn't make a mistake. They move better because of exercise and due diligence and working on their own personal body movement. They don't have the nerves and nervousness in the ring. They're not worried about whether they've dropped the bait or not. They're not worried about baiting the dog or not. They're not worried about those types of things that could change the circumstances. So it leads them to win more often because they don't have the worries that the average owner has. And you look at the investment. You know, if you look at a person that goes to college or goes to a tech school, you have a lot of hours that you have to complete in order to get the title or certificate, training certificate, or a degree in school where you have to take studies and tests and information. Well, that's what handlers do when they go from judge to judge. They study their judges. They find out what judges like. They go from breed to breed. They learn what different breeds and how they're presented, so it makes them better with the breed that they have in front of them. Those are all like college courses. Every single time that a handler takes in a dog, even an owner, every single time that a person takes a dog in, that's like taking a half-hour class. How many classes does it take in order to get a certificate? You know, if you're looking at just a real estate class, or if you're looking at an insurance class, or you're looking at a brokership class, you're looking at many, many hours. And then if you look at a BS in education, or a BA in education, or a MA or MBA, or master's or doctorate, you look at the hours that it takes for a person to achieve the credentials. So when you look at handling a dog, and it might be your first dog or your first breed, sometimes your credentials don't stack up to the person that has the credentials against you. And the handler's job is to go into the ring to win. I've got a old rodeo buddy who used to ride rodeo. Okay, he understands presentation. He understands working with animals. He understands from the school of hard knocks of body placement and body positions on how to present a dog gorgeously. The average owner doesn't have that. The average owners might go to a dog class, might be working their own dog, and don't change from dog to dog, so they don't have any new information to go by. You look at the countless hours that handlers have in just plain old dog care, and the costs of a handler are all over the board. But if you look at however they charge, they all at the end of the year pretty much charge the same. Some charge a flat rate like I do. Some charge every single time that they walk into the ring with the dog. Sometimes some charge for every single time that they walk in the ring plus a bonus for what they do. And if you calculate that plus shared expenses and whatnot, it comes out to be about the same. So if you look at what you get, what you pay for, you could go out and go grab a friend or a young kid to show your dog, but that you might get some wins here and there. You might get some minor stuff here and there, but you get what you pay for. I watch groups of individuals go out and charge $10 to show dogs and end up with 40, 50 dogs. Well, guess what? Now you can look at those animals and see that they're not getting the dog care that they should get. So that's part of the understanding and study with dog behavior, dog training, and being a handler, is you have to also understand dog care. You have to understand feeding and watering schedules. You'll have the adage of those who learn how to feed a certain way or learn from other handlers. Well, when we were in the military, you never left a water bucket in a kennel with a dog. You never left a collar on a dog inside a kennel. And you have a lot of individuals that aren't educated in the dangers and health of dogs that promote that. Well, guess what? As soon as you have a dog that you've got to cut that wire off of his head to get his head out of that bucket, you'll never leave another bucket in a kennel with a dog again. As soon as you have to cut that wire to get that dog's jaw out from it and attach to that bucket that's sitting in the kennel, you'll never leave a bucket in that kennel again. And yes, it does happen. Well, but Coop, it's never happened to me. Well, that's why it's called an accident. That's why it's called prevention. But those are things that handlers learn from handlers over time. That's the education side. You learn things by listening to what happens to other individuals. You learn things by, preparing yourself for heat, preparing yourself with backup generators and backup fans. When a person goes, well, what am I paying for? You're paying for the expertise, you're paying for that help. But when you also go to somebody that does not have the education and you pay them the same thing as the professional, and the dog comes back different. I was watching a young kid yelling at a dog, just shaking it up, because he never went through the process of teaching the dog to stand, because as a professional, which now he has demands made of him, he doesn't have a clue how to train. And that bait was failing, so now he's upset because now this individual dog didn't get the win. Well, guess what? That dog may not have ever gotten the win. Because a handler doesn't always get to have the dog that they want. As a handler, the person, you're just like a race car driver. You have a client that you're driving for. You take the best of what you have and you do the best that you can with it. Some days you win, some days you lose. But the average handler wins more than they lose. So there is huge value, and I'll have to do a part 2 on this one, but there is huge value to having the handler. The handler gets the job done easier. The handler walks into the ring without the stress and headache, and when an owner walks up with the dog, that's part of what they're paying for, to diminish their stress and headache, to diminish the drama that's attached to some situations. And if there's a whole lot of drama, that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for the person to go and do the best they possibly can with that dog, show it to its best, and try and to do everything that you possibly can to win. Everything that you possibly can to win with sportsmanship, not evilness, not stabbing people in the back, not talking negative about them, not throwing bait at their dogs, not getting in the way, not, try to do the best you possibly can not to do those types of things. So, what's the benefit of a handler? There's a huge benefits in a handler. Education, whether it be the education of School of Hard Knocks, or for example, myself, where I went through the School of Hard Knocks with a bunch of different trainers and handlers, went to college for an animal science degree, went continuing on to college to get my PhD in animal science, and continuing on with just knowledge, training with trainers, just training dogs, not just being a handler. Because there are just handlers, and also being a dean of students for a pet grooming school, learning how to groom. You know, those are education courses. Those are years and years of experience that are put into training and educating that the average client that I have benefits from. Not only strategic winning situations where you can strategically tell a person how to get their dogs in the top 10 and top 5 if they listen to you, or number 1 dog if they listen to you because of experience. Or you can nickel and dime and go, I'm going to go the cheapest route, and never end up with a dog that's rated there. Never get it there. And you go, well, I spent the exact same thing. I watch 2 handlers right now that think that they know something because they had one dog that did a little bit of winning, so now they're experts. But when it comes to major competition, when it's not against their own dogs, they don't win. They don't win. But when it comes to competition, they're afraid of it. They run from competition. Why? Because they don't win. And from my standpoint as a handler, if you've got a great product, a great animal, you are willing to go in front of every piece of competition, every bit of competition, because you are that winner. And you're going to prove it. Is that a little ego piece for me? Yeah, but guess what? Nice dogs are nice dogs. It can't be denied. So the benefit of the handler is 1, confidence. The benefit of the handler is 2, education. The benefit of the handler also is that they're out every weekend. Benefit, presentation. Step back when a person goes, well, that handler won. Next time that you're standing outside the ring, step back and see what the difference is. Well, they have lesser of a dog. But did the judge see that? Or are you just looking at that? That's the key. Well, thanks for tuning in to Big D's Dog Training and Services.com. Keep the questions coming. There are huge benefits to the education. There's huge benefits of the questions that you guys keep giving me. Thanks for tuning in. Big D's Dog Training and Services.com. Catch you down the road.